Greeting guys, Coach Ronnie here. Today another exciting video. I made a video 4 days ago. I think it was 4 or 5 days ago, and the response that I've had for this video was a bit really crazy because so many people emailed me and saying to me that oh my gosh, that you made a video about the foam balls. You need to now make a video about the peewees or the toddlers racket. You know what? I've decided. You know what? Since I'm getting the positive feedback, so I went ahead and take that advice into heart, and here we are making a video. So now the video is, I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible, and I promise you it's going to be short. Now here we go. People want to know what is the proper racket, what's the racket size for my toddler, for my peewee. Um, when they're starting out, in other words, what is the proper racket size for them? Keep in mind, we were talking about a 3, a 4, and a 5-year-old. Special sixes, because some 6-year-old are very small in frames, but we're mostly referring to 3, 4, and 5. What we're talking about here, guys, is number one, keep it simple. Because if you keep it simple, number one, you're not going to be stressed, and number two, the kid's not going to be stressed. So the number one thing is to keep it simple. The number two thing, you want to spend as less as possible. Why? Because buying a tennis racket for your peewees, for your toddlers, it's like buying clothing. It's very quick. Today you buy the racket, tomorrow they grow out of it. So I'm not going to tell you to go out there and to buy an expensive frame. So the most important thing here is what I'm going to teach you today. Pay attention, please. What we call a racket head. The head of the racket starts from here all the way through here, the circle. That's what we call the racket head. From here to this point here, we call this the racket neck or the racket throat. Depends on who you're talking to. Some people call it the racket throat or the racket neck, okay? Now from here to there, we call that the racket butt or the grip of the racket. Now, I don't want to get into beblos on what these are yet because we're still talking about kids' racket. But what I would say to you, when you're buying a racket for your peewees or your toddlers, the most important thing you have to remember is not quite the frame, it's but mostly the racket grip or the racket butt. If you're dealing with a 3-year-old, in most cases, he or she might have a smaller hand. You might want to have a shorter handle. If you're dealing with a 4-year-old or a 4.5-year-old, where they might have what you call the tall kids, then you might have to get into a longer length. That is the only difference when it comes to a peewee toddler. It's not about how expensive the frame is, it's how long and comfortable the grip of the racket is. Well, when you and I are buying racket for ourselves, then we talk about the frame, blase blase. But if we're talking about a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old, believe you me, the 3-year-old does not care how well he can hit the ball. A 4-year-old does not care about the forehand, but what they do care about is how much fun am I having with daddy. So if daddy can make this thing fun, and I promise you, in the long run, you will win the war. So that's the main important thing to keep in mind. So to summarize the video is to always remember, when we talk about a peewee's racket, we're not talking about how expensive the frame is. We're talking about the comfort level of the grip. If the grip is comfortable for them when they hit the two-handed backhand or they hit the forehand, they're not gonna say, "Mom, Dad, my hands hurt." Once you don't get that, "Mom, my hands hurt," "Dad, my hands hurt," then you know you're in good shape. Last point I will make: when you take them to buy, when you are buying a racket, make sure you please take them with you, because that's the whole process. That's the whole fun. Because I really believe that, I tell my students all the time that personal responsibility start within and start with your racket. So if I give you your tennis racket and you don't take care of your racket, then that tells me you are not serious. But if you have a tennis racket and you take care of your tennis racket, then that tells me that you are a serious individual. So you start with it. So that's the reason why when it comes to picking the racket, it's important that you get them involved, because when they get involved and pick that racket, something happened to it, then they feel like it is my responsibility to find my tennis racket. So I hope this video was helpful, guys, and Please, if you have any more questions, please drop me a note. Thank you for watching the video. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.